Hi everybody, Bearded Rogue here, and we're on box 21 now in the Tony Unpacks in Oregon series. These last two boxes are a lot of games that I brought with me that I will probably try to find a new home for at some point. There are two exceptions to that, and I'll cover those first. They're in this box, and I think there may be some exceptions in the next box. But we'll cover that in the next video. I know that there are two in here that I'm definitely keeping with me, but there's some other stuff in here that I'm probably going to try to find a new home for. Either way, I'm going to go over what's in the box and talk about it a little bit, and we'll go from there. So, first game that I'm planning on keeping is Epic PvP. This is the 2 expansion. I don't know how that relates to other expansions. I'm not sure. I don't know very much about this game. I know that this game is a collaboration between Fun to 11 and AEG. I know that it uses the whole shuffle building concept from man, the name of the game now escapes me. Basically, in this one, instead of picking two different factions and shuffling them together and making your deck, you pick your race and your class and you shuffle them together to create your deck. And then you fight each other with it. I was initially working on a shuffle building idea with races and classes, except it was a co-op dungeon crawl that was abstracted. This came out and basically obsoleted any game design that I was working on with that, so I changed mine to be a dice drafting game. But I haven't had a chance to play it yet, other than a brief demo at Unpub. They actually gave the designers at Unpub a copy of this game, so I want to give it a fair shake and give it a try. It looks pretty cool. It played pretty cool in the demo that I played, so I'm planning on holding on to this at least until I decide if I like it or not. If I do, I'll probably end up getting the rest of it, so that I can have more combinations, because this one is just has the Halfling, Catfolk, Cleric, and Dark Knight inside of it. So that's only 2 races and 2 classes, which doesn't give a lot of options for building, but would be cool to combine with another set, and the way that all of those combine would be neat. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the other game that I'm probably going to keep, and that is Dragon Rampage. Dragon Rampage is a pretty neat game, wherein everybody plays a fantasy character going into a dragon's lair. You're all trying to get the most points, either by damaging the dragon or stealing its treasure, without getting everybody killed. So it's kind of a pressure luck game. Everybody plays a different class that has slightly different abilities. It's a dice game. You roll dice, and they have different faces on them that let you choose different actions, etc., etc. So it's a neat little game. I first saw this one, Undead Viking reviewed it, actually, and it looked really neat to me, so I picked it up on a whim at, I think it was Origins. Yeah, the Eagle Griffin booth. They were selling games, and you got discounts the more of them you bought, and this one was sitting there on discount already, so I went ahead and picked it up to fill out my order, and I was not disappointed. I really liked this game. Some of the people that I played it with did not like this game, so it didn't hit the table much, but I personally really liked it. I love the idea behind it and want to play it more, and that's why it's staying in my collection and why it came with me to Oregon. So, Dragon Rampage. We're going to play this one some more and see if it continues to have legs with me. Next. So, the next game that I'm going to show you guys is actually several boxes worth. So there's a game that I kickstarted a long time ago that I thought was a very neat idea. And it's basically Magic the Gathering, but what if, in order to activate your spells, the resource system was actually speaking magic words and making hand gestures. And the game's called Serpents Tongue. And I got 2 starter boxes of it, and then I got 2 of the big old boxes of boosters here. And the eventual product that was shipped, while shipped extremely late, was pretty damn high quality stuff. I wasn't unhappy with what I got. It's just knowing that the company that shipped it was basically dead in the water the second they spent the money to ship me my games, kind of killed it. It was a CCG, which was something I should have known better than to get involved in. They had all sorts of problems in the production process. Some of the stuff that I was supposed to get still never shipped, even though I paid for it. The company just ran out of money and basically died. So it didn't take off, it didn't go anywhere, and I have a lot of cards for it that I can't do anything with. If you're at all interested in Serpents Tongue, if it's something that you still play, or you and your friends enjoy, or you have a play group, or you just want to collect it for whatever reason, let me know, and we can probably work out a deal wherein I can get all this to you in some way, shape, or form, because it deserves to be played. It's a really high-quality game. It really impresses me. All the love and attention that was put into it. It was just a much bigger project than the company that set out to do it should have ever tried to do. Making it a CCG was a very dumb idea, and the production levels that they wanted to achieve and the amount of shipping and stuff that they ended up having to do pretty much bankrupted them and put them out of business. But I have some. If you'd like it, let me know. We can probably come to a deal. It takes up a lot of room on my shelf, and it's a game that I'm probably never going to get to play. It's not a game that I'm going to spend a lot of time on. It's not a game that I'm going to try to teach everybody. It didn't grab me immediately when I did finally get it. I'd already, like I said, it was very early in my board game collection, and by the time it arrived, I already had, hundreds of games on my shelves that I was playing instead. So, unfortunately, it's one of those games that ended up being a victim of circumstances. But it came with me to Oregon because I couldn't find anybody to offload it with in Kentucky. Nobody really wanted it. If you do, let me know, and we'll find a way to work it out. The next game is a game that I actually like. However, I despise the business practices of the people who produced it, and I am never going to get any more of it because of the way that they do things. And that game is Shadow Rift. Shadow Rift is a team deck builder. It's very intriguing in that everybody builds their decks Dominion style from a tableau of cards that are available. You're fighting monsters out of a village. There are villagers that you can protect. There are traders that infiltrate the village. So you're fighting off monsters, dealing with traders, trying to build the infrastructure of the village, trying to build up your characters through deck building to specialize in different things like closing the gates, the rifts that the monsters are pouring through, or healing your teammates, or just dealing damage to keep the slavering beasts of these rifts off of your doorstep. All of those are things that you can do inside the game, and all of that is awesome. The mechanisms of the game are pretty freaking cool. The components in the game in this edition are a little shoddy, and that's where additions come in that it's a problem. So, this is the 1.5 edition of the game. 1.5, let me point that out. So, first edition shipped, they didn't print enough, they held a Kickstarter for 1.5, and the first expansion, which was Shadow Rift Archfiends, which added big bosses that go along with all of the monster decks that you have to deal with. Pretty neat. I also got a pretty cool playmat to go with it to tell you where all the cards go. But the first edition of the game, the rulebook wasn't very good. People had problems learning how to play it. They had to watch videos of other people playing it in order to figure out how to play it. But it's a really solid game, that being said. However, less than, actually it was even before. So I received this game shortly after Gen Con one year. And 2 weeks before Gen Con, they launched a Kickstarter for the completely revamped second edition of this game. So they launched a Kickstarter for the second edition of a game with brand new artwork and a brand new rulebook and everything that I hadn't received the 1.5 edition of the game or its expansion for yet. And and by the time I received it, the Kickstarter was over. So they were asking me to back a Kickstarter for the second edition of the game, that they hadn't gotten me the 1.5 edition of the game yet. That obsoleted my 1.5 edition because all of the card backs changed, all of the card fronts changed, everything looked different. So they were selling a new version of a game that I hadn't even received from their previous Kickstarter yet. And as you can see here, that's because it's Game Salute. This game is the reason I don't back Game Salute games. I really enjoyed this game. It's a shame that the designer is signed with Game Salute. It's a shame that Game Salute is the one putting it out. They've released another expansion. I'm never going to see it. I'm never going to play it. I'm never going to buy it. This game, while I really love the mechanisms in it, and I think it's really cool, for me has been completely replaced by Aeon's End. Aeon's End is another cooperative deck builder. It scratches that itch, and it isn't completely obsoleted before I got it. Now, the latest edition of Aeon's End included all sorts of upgrade packs and brand new artwork promises for the original Aeon's End. However, where indie boards and cards in action phase, they succeeded where Game Salute did not, in that if you backed the original Kickstarter, you got the upgrades. You could also opt in to buy the upgrades for the original version of the game. You could buy the new upgraded version of the game. And this was many, many months after Kickstarter backers had already had their games in hand and been able to play it to know whether they liked it or not. This is the game that burned me on Game Salute. And it's kind of been obsoleted in my collection. I'm never going to get any more expansions for it. I'm not going to buy into it anymore. I could continue to play what I already have, but Aeon's End is a game that's currently being supported, and so I'll probably completely switch to it. I only really need one cooperative deck builder, don't I? So it's a shame that this game was a victim of its company, rather than its mechanics or its gameplay or even its artwork. This is another one that I'm probably going to look to get rid of for that reason. It's a really good game. Like, I really highly recommend it. I just don't personally need it. If you're at all interested, let me know, and we can talk about that somewhere else. But that's Shadow Rift. There are a few other things in the bottom of this box, and we're going to go over those. And these are so Meeple playing cards. I'm keeping those because you can never have enough playing cards. I have a copy of the Pixel Tactics Argent University expansion. I already own a copy of this. This one's still in shrink. Somehow I accidentally got two of them. I don't know if I got one from the Argent Kickstarter and then bought one at a convention or what exactly, but this is completely unopened and completely unused. Let me know if you want that, and we can probably get that to you. So that's yet another thing that is out there. And then another Game Salute game, Tattletale. I've never gotten to play it. I was so angry with Game Salute when I finally got my copy that I just kind of put it in a drawer and forgot about it. So it came with me because I don't know whether I like it or not yet. So we'll see how long this one stays with me. But that's everything in this box. That's box 21. There's only one more box left, guys, and a lot of the stuff in it is stuff that I brought with me because I couldn't find a new home for it elsewhere. So we'll go over that, and we'll wrap up this series. So I will talk to you later. Bearded Rogue, out.